Yes, let me continue on with my regular information item pertaining to Hyperion, the Hyperion Water Treatment Plant. And it has been a little while, Mayor, since we've been able to report on this. So I will go back, and in fact, the time off was very helpful for staff also to kind of catch up on things. So thank you for that summer recess, if you will. Going back to June 21st, if you recall, we've been working diligently on the Assembly Bill 1216, which addresses Hyperion and their requirement to do certain testing, and we've been following that very closely with Assembly Member Marisucci and his staff. Whereas on the 21st of June, the Senate Environmental Quality Committee, which Councilmember Baldino attended in Sacramento to provide testimony, was passed at that time. Moving forward since then, in an effort to secure AQMD, the Air Quality Management District, support for the bill, which we really needed to solidify the basis of the bill, and it was a requirement by the Assembly member and his team, myself, along with the Hyperion Ad Hoc Committee, made up of Councilmember Baldino, Councilmember Persick, and Tracy
Miller-Zarnicki. Yeah.
Tracy Miller-Zarnicki, correct. Along with Elias and myself, serve on that ad hoc, have been meeting weekly to go back and forth on the wording in the bill. It's an amazing process. Just yesterday, we were down to one word that separated the two, and that was finally approved, and to the point where now, next Monday, the bill will be going before the Senate Finance Committee, Appropriations Committee, and hopefully will pass at that level, then go to the Senate floor for a vote, and then ultimately, if that gets approved, go on to the governor for his signature. We're hoping sometime in October. So keeping our fingers crossed that the bill will finally become a reality in October. Just a couple highlights on the bill, just so you're aware. The bill, as it stands now, stipulates that there will be fence line monitoring of the hydrogen sulfide. One of the issues was where testing for the NOx and VOCs would be done, and we've resolved with AQMD that testing at those critical elements will be done at the source, not necessarily at the fence line, but on the source, which is really critical. And the key also with the bill is this testing on all levels, whether fence line or source, will be a permanent legal requirement. So moving forward, that requirement will be placed upon Hyperion in the city of Los Angeles. The bill will also require that data from the fence line monitors be shared with the public in real time. That was something we were very adamant about keeping in the bill, and that did remain in the bill. So all of that data will be collected and reported and shared with the public. One of the other issues was when this would all be implemented. The date now for the bill was pushed back from 2025 to 2027, but that was on a recommendation from AQMD because they want to just ensure that the source testing and all of the equipment related to that could be installed in a reasonable time, and that was something they felt pretty strongly about. Weren't happy about it, but we understand that it was an AQMD recommendation, and to them it was a realistic timeline. But you know, it doesn't mean that the work can't be completed sooner. 2027, January 1st was the end-all date that it must be completed by. So again, in summarizing AB 1216, it will permanently and legally require that by January 1st, 2027, Hyperion will conduct regular source monitoring for NOx and VOCs and monitor at the fence line for all pollutants of concern as determined by AQMD, including hydrogen sulfide, and to share all of this monitoring data with the public in real time. Another critical item that we've been doing since the break. We've been meeting with, as I said, Assemblymember Marisucci's office. We've been in constant discussions with Senator Ben Allen's office. Holly Mitchell, our supervisor, has been very instrumental in helping us continue to coordinate efforts with all of the electeds. And in fact, tomorrow, we have myself, the mayor, Councilman Baldino, and the Director of Public Works will be meeting with all these representatives from those offices in a Zoom meeting to, again, discuss the update on where we are and continue to gather their support. In addition, the City of Los Angeles will finally be involved in this meeting also through Councilmember Tracy Park's office. So that'll take place tomorrow. In terms of notice of violations, on July 25th, AQMD did issue a notice of violation to Hyperion for elevated levels of hydrogen sulfide. Basically, they violated requirements to reduce odors impacting the community, and really that occurred during a scrubber malfunction, which Hyperion did notify AQMD in advance. So again, Hyperion has been very cognizant of AQMD's watching what they've been doing. They've been reacting and responding to all of the abatement orders that AQMD has been issuing. So we're feeling good on that level that Hyperion is finally getting this message that they need to not only inform us, but also begin to seriously take measures to deal with the abatement order. Also, on July 20th, Hyperion held a Citizens Forum meeting, which was attended by Councilmember Persick and also Elias, our Public Works Director, who was actually on a panel for during that meeting. On August 2nd, city staff were informed of elevated hydrogen sulfide levels from Hyperion's north and central monitoring stations. We contacted Hyperion, were told that, again, the outdoor scrubbers were out of service, and subsequently Hyperion staff has installed additional scrubbers the next day. So again, that quick response as problems occur. Another good piece of news that did finally happen during the, while we were off was they completed the perimeter road improvement project. If you recall, several meetings I came up to report the percentage of completion. Well, they did in fact complete that improvement on July 31st. And what's currently going on is that Hyperion, they're actually having to measure now the tanks. So they've had to take the covers off for a period of time. So all of this stuff is on our website. We've informed the community because obviously with the covers off, the tendency for the odors to increase are there. So we've been keeping an eye on that, but they are measuring these tanks, and that will continue to take place the rest of this week. So it was last week and this week. So we're keeping an eye on any complaints that are coming through on our website and directing them back to Hyperion on those matters. Finally, our efforts with Dr. Stenstrom. You recall we retained an expert from UCLA. He's been with us every step of the way and has been very valuable in analyzing the technical data that we get and helping us respond to Hyperion when we do get those notices of when they get their notices of violation. He helps us interpret those, and we in turn can share with them what our thoughts were. And he was actually helpful in helping us word some of the language in the bill also as it related to the NOx and the VOCs and the H2S. So very busy in terms of all things Hyperion. Diane, our communications manager, has been doing a very good job in terms of keeping folks notified, updating our website. We've put now the Hyperion update pretty much front and center as soon as you load our page. So everyone should really be able to get the most up-to-date information on what's going on with Hyperion. So I don't know if any of the ad hoc members want to share anything else.
Let me try to briefly summarize how it is we got to where we're at today. Getting this legislation through, it was important to get the support of AQMD. We as a city have no jurisdiction or capacity to control what happens at Hyperion. It is in the City of Los Angeles. Up to this point, the City of Los Angeles has not been very receptive to taking our calls or listening to our complaints. That's kind of why we've gone over their head to the state. With the passage of this state law, we're hoping to make the fence line monitoring a permanent fixture at Hyperion. Without this law, that would go away once the order of abatement was done and Hyperion would go back to their old ways. This helps us maintain some form of constant accountability. In the negotiations with AQMD, I believe we've gone back 7 or 8 times, numerous calls with them and the representatives and their attorneys about this language. And they had reasons for why we had to, for instance, move the NOx and VOCs away from the fence onto the offending smokestack generator, what have you, is because so they can have more accountability. If it's on the fence line, Hyperion could argue it's a passing truck, it's a plane, it's not us, it's something else. So with these amendments, and there are copies of the most recently amended version of the bill available for the public, it's available online, AQMD is now in support of this legislation. With the support of AQMD, who is the authority in control, we have a very good chance of getting this passed. I have with me a resolution from the Los Angeles City, the changes that they want. They include making the state pay for it, some other things that we do not agree with. Again, the process we've gone through of getting the support of AQMD now gives a stronger position to move forward and get passage of the bill, which I think will bring a long-term solution to helping us monitor what's going on over there. And so thank you, Darrell and staff, for all the time that's gone into this. I appreciate it.
Yep.
And I think we're making amazing progress as far as getting legislation through. If we can get this through by the end of the year, that would be incredible.
Tremendous, thank you.
Quick question on the latest form of the bill. Does it have sensitivity in the sensors? The 1647 that does the refinery, that covers toxins and heavy metals as well, and I just don't recall or know what the latest, is this only virtual or volatile organics and hydrogen sulfide?
The way it's worded is that it says the monitoring system on the fence line shall measure pollutants of concern, including hydrogen sulfide.
You had me at pollutants of concern.
Right. It's broad enough to where if something else comes up, AQMD has the regulation authority to power to say, now you're monitoring this. And then what we did with the VOCs, it's in subsection 2, says that the plant operator shall not exceed the limits for nitrogen oxide and volatile organic compounds as determined by source testing required by the operator as approved by AQMD. So we're tackling both of those types of pollutants, just in different ways, for which AQMD says is actually more accurate for them.
Excellent, works for me.
Got a couple. First comment. Just want to acknowledge that Assemblymember Marisucci has only been our Assembly member for, what, 5 months?
Right.
And he immediately, when we asked him over a year ago now, if he would support legislation mirroring what he did at Chevron with the fence line monitoring, he unequivocally said yes. We'd asked other legislators, and they declined, but Al said yes. So he's been a total advocate for the South Bay already. He goes to bat against his party oftentimes on unfunded housing mandates and other things. So I just want to acknowledge that regardless of how this goes and whether or not Governor Newsom signs it, passes the Senate floor, he's been very good to us on this. And so that was just a statement.
You can tell also he's directed his staff as such, because they've been tremendous to deal with also, very competent. And
I just have a couple questions,
Yep.
and you might know this, Ryan. I'm not sure if Darrell does, but are there penalties and or remedies in place? Let's say they don't meet that. What's the deadline again for them to do the fence line or the funnel?
January 2027.
January 2027. So if they don't meet that deadline, what's the remedy that's in place? Do we have any teeth? Or is that when AQMD would step in and do an abatement order or something like
yes.
that?
All within the parameters and authority of AQMD.
Okay.
But this statute basically mandates that it has to happen.
Okay.
Whereas this order of abatement, it would one day go away, right? There wouldn't be any problems, and then they would remove the fence line monitoring, and then we'd have another disaster, and we're right back where we started. The idea is constant monitoring, constant checking in on what's going on.
Okay, great. And then these 33 recommendations that you and Dr. Stenstrom were involved with in that ad hoc committee a year ago, where are we at with those?
So we do receive copies of the progress on a monthly basis, and I forward copies. In fact, they copy Dr. Stenstrom as well. So those reports are in our possession, and progress is being made.
Is there a way to get like a dashboard of green, yellow, red, we're on track, we're way behind,
Yeah, we
percent
could do that.
complete, something that we could report back to the constituents? Because there were so many issues you pointed out, Elias, back then. It would be good to know that we're making progress
Sure.
on those. And then the tanks. So we had a lot of public comment online and elsewhere about the smell that was emanating from the tanks as they were removing the tank covers and doing the measuring. We, I know internally, talked about, well, maybe we should defer on that, but then that would delay the ultimate project of having the permanent tank covers fabricated and installed, and it could make Hyperion non-compliant with the AQMD abatement order. So I don't know if that's been put out there in the public, but, okay, it has. Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you. Anyone
And I-
else? Yeah.
I wanted to make a comment. You know, I just want to also give a recognition to Tracy Miller-Zarnicki, who's on our environmental committee, who spent a lot of time in this. We meet every week, and to Elias, the Director of Public Works. Between those two and Ryan and myself and Daryl, we meet every week. And there's a lot of outside effort on Tracy's part, and I just want to give
Yes.
her recognition for all that she's doing
Yep.
for El Segundo, representing the environmental committee.
Absolutely.
Yeah, second that.